Okay, this is the first video for personal injury law. We're going to be talking in this class obviously mainly about torts and how torts impact or what to expect as a paralegal on matters regarding tort law. If you haven't watched the syllabus video yet, please do that. It's going to be important that you understand what days this video will be posted. It's also important that you look at my courses as often as possible to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to, all the assignments, especially the discussion boards and the forums. So today we're going to go over chapter 1 and 2 of Tort Law, the text, and just talk a little bit about torts in general. The main purpose of a tort, or the main purpose of tort law in and of itself, is to protect the rights of an individual or a consumer against others. If you're walking and just doing your thing, your normal thing, and someone comes and impedes you, hurts you, even by accident, then a tort is committed. The person who is injured or somehow damaged, his goods or his person, gets the opportunity to go to court and ask the court to force the person who injured him or damaged his property to pay monetary damages or some other damages to make the person who was injured whole, or even to punish the person who committed the act, depending on what kind of act it is. The involvement of courts when it comes to tort law and personal injury law is fundamental. A person does not have the ability to act upon his own right to go and extract from another person a remedy. So for instance, if you driving along in your car and you're crossing an intersection, wham, someone hits you, you can't go to the bank that person banks at and say to the teller, I would like $10,000 for the damage to my car, take it out of his account. Or you can't go to his house and say, I want to put a lien on your house, or take your car so that I have something to drive in. It's not the ability of the individual to do this. Of course, the one who actually does the damage has the ability to take it upon himself to say, well, you know what, I did you wrong, so I'm going to pay you $10,000, or I'm going to loan you my car so that you can get from point A to point B. Doesn't really happen. That's where settlements come in, and we'll talk about settlements, but for the most part, if a suit is not included anywhere, you're not going to see that sort of behavior from the person who injured another person. What you will see is the court becoming involved. The injured person goes to court, pleads to the court, this is what happened to me. Here's the law that says I can get a remedy for what happened to me, and here's the person who caused the harm. Court, please use your power to extract from the person who damaged me the money that I need to repair my car, to pay my medical bills, etc. If the jury or the judge, if it's a bench trial, decides that the plaintiff's case is a valid one, that it fits the standard of proof and is persuasive, and the defense has no defense, affirmative or otherwise, that could protect him, then the court will agree with the plaintiff and say, you know what, plaintiff, you're right. This was a wrong and it needs to be rectified. So I'm going to use my power as the court to put judgment on the defendant. And then the defendant must follow suit. That's personal injury law in a nutshell. That's torts in a nutshell. We're talking about a civil trial when we're talking about courts. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a few minutes, but we're talking about a civil trial, and we're talking about an individual suing another individual or corporation and asking the court to do something, to perform some action. The easiest way to define a tort is some civil wrong where a person or an entity is able to get a remedy to pay for or rectify the damages. Some form of damages are going to be offered to the individual or the corporation, to the plaintiff. There are three main areas of torts, and we're going to go through all of these. So this is, again, just an overview that we're going to talk about today. There's the intentional torts, there's negligence, and then there's strict liability. These are the main areas of tort law. The main areas of tort law. Intentional torts, what do you think those could be? Intentional. Those are the ones where a person does something intentionally. Negligence. We're going to, of course, talk more about this, but as opposed to intentional torts, a negligent tort or negligence is one where a person owed a duty to another person and failed to do that duty. And by failing to live up to that responsibility causes injury to the person to whom the duty is owed. You could almost think of negligence as an accident, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an accident. It's usually seen as slip and fall. For instance, someone's not intentionally putting something on the ground that would make you slip and fall. Rather, someone is careless in ignoring the fact that there's water on the ground, their place of business, for instance, and someone slips and falls and hurts themselves. It's an accident. Accidents happen. In our society, accidents are actionable in that the person who was careless pays whatever injuries the innocent victim has because of the carelessness. Strict liability